KBC Lunchtime 2023 on a day that the president began his tour of central Kenya. We have the news shaping up the conversation in the country. Welcome. My name is Ben Troy Njue, and Lucy Maura will be our sign language interpreter for this live newscast. We begin our news in Kakamega County, where police in the county are detaining a 47-year-old woman, Rose Mwanje, for alleged involvement in the death of her husband. According to police reports, Pius Busieka, aged 56 years, died after an attack by a gang of thugs in the village of Nyayo T-Zone, Durambi constituency. According to the deceased children, a gang of 3 entered the house at night and accosted the father, who later succumbed to the injuries. Kakamega OCPD Valerian Obore says Busieka's wife will remain in custody as police continue with investigations.
Tumemaliza kula sapa. Tumemaliza kula sapa. Tukakaa kidogo. Watu wawili waliingia kwa nyumba, wanaume. Sio umri kidogo, ni watu wakomavu.
Mzee ameuawa mbele ya watoto wake, jambo ambalo ni uchungu sana. Huyu mzee ameuawa katika hali ya utatanishi, na ni mzee ambaye amekuwa kiongozi.
Sana vyombo za usalama ziweze kufuatilia, maana tujue kini kabisa nini kilitendeka. Watu ambao walikuja kuua mjomba wangu Pius Mwanje ni akina nani na walikuwa na lengo gani?
And from Kakamega to Baringo County, where a section of leaders have refuted, claims that locals are working in cahoots with terror groupings to target non-local teachers in the region. The leaders took issue with Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki over his remarks made before the Parliamentary Committee on Education, in which he raised concerns on attacks on non-local teachers without locals sharing intelligence report with police to avert such attacks.
That we nurture education, which is actually the Constitution says education is free and compulsory. So you have another task, Waziri, to ensure that that is actually provided for. Life is saved and education is provided.
So some of the threats are coming from the local communities themselves, and we must therefore look towards engaging local communities to accept the reality.
The remarks by Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki before the Parliamentary Committee on Education appears to have sparked outrage among a section of leaders in Mandera County.
We will prove him wrong in that. But the solution now, that statement is a wake-up call for all of us to ensure that our children are the ones teaching our other children.
70% of the people who either get injured or who die are the locals. So this narrative that has been really overstated is not necessarily the right thing.
The leaders faulted Kindiki over his remarks, maintaining the locals were not aiding criminals to target non-local teachers.
And non-locals are not only teachers. We have non-locals in every department in this county, both at the national and county level. What is so concerned about teachers?
The leaders maintained that locals are not colluding with terrorists. The area governor Mohammed Halif, while addressing Mandera residents, said Al-Shabaab poses a global threat and it is imperative to stand together and combat them, dismissing claims of locals shielding the criminals.
It's unfortunate for some to say that we work with Al-Shabaab and we sympathize with Al-Shabaab. It's a very unfortunate statement. 2, Al-Shabaab is a global problem. It's not even a regional problem.
They called on locals to remain united in fighting the terror group.
And that's in Mandera and not Baringo, as I had earlier mentioned. Now, crossing over to Baringo, county leaders have lauded efforts to bring peace in banditry-prone areas, saying the region has lagged behind due to persistent banditry. This as former Regional Commissioner Isaiah Nakoru warned communities against instigating attacks and revenge attacks.
A section of leaders in Baringo County are spearheading peace campaigns in the volatile and banditry-prone areas of the county. The leaders vow to embrace peace in the area that has in recent times witnessed skirmishes.
Tumekuwa na shida kati ya Tiatei hapa na Baringo North, Tiatei hapa na Baringo South, TRT hapa na Elgeyo Marakwet. Lakini I'm happy today ya kwamba kwa muda ya miezi kadhaa tumekuwa na usalama. Na mimi nataka tuombeane sisi zote ya kwamba sisi ni jamii moja.
So sisi ni ndugu moja. Nyinyi tu hamjui, mnaweka jina yenu ngine na sisi tunaweka yetu ngine. Lakini sisi ni kitu nini? Sasa unakuja kuua ndugu yako alafu hata hujui.
Former Regional Commissioner Isaiah Nakoru has warned communities against propagating violence, saying those who will be found to have engaged in acts of violence will face full force of the law.
Hatutakubali kila wakati kuwa sisi ndio tunakuwa ile inaitwa denominator ya conflict. Pokot wanapiga Marakwet, Pokot wanapiga Tuken, Pokot wanapiga Lichamus, wanapiga Samburu. That is inatuharibia jina. Ni lazima tubadilike.
Munaonaje hiyo handshake ya customers?
At the same time, Baringo North Member of Parliament Joseph Makilapa and his Tiati counterpart William Kamket shook hands as a sign of peace, urging the communities to work together. Makilap said Tiati is endowed with resources like geothermal, which can turn around the economy of the region, urging residents to involve themselves in activity that will help them make a living.
I want to call upon you and all of us members of parliament from Baringo. Hii GDC moto iko hapa. Pesa ya hii GDC isomeshe watoto ya Pokot waende shule. Wasikuje biashara ya kuchukua moto na kuwacha watoto ya Pokot bila kwenda. This must be your forest. Hii GDC ikuwe ng'ombe yenu, ikuwe forest yenu. You must have what is called Tiate Community Fund through GDC, where you will educate your people. Waende ng'ambo, waende Canada, waende America, waende Australia, wakirudi watabadilisha maisha ya watu ya sehemu hii. That is what will change Kenya. Kenya will not be changed by party politics.
Kwa mara ya kwanza Baringo viongozi wote tumekubaliana kufanya kazi. Kwa sababu gani? Baringo imebarikiwa sana na vitu vingi, lakini kwa sababu ya shida ambazo kidogo tunaweza kuwa nayo, mimi pia nimekuwa na shida zangu kidogo na mheshimiwa Kamket hapa. Lakini ikafika pahali tukasema Baringo ni kubwa kuliko kila mtu.
The leaders made the remarks during the burial of Tiati Constituency Fund Manager Augustine Mwatech. Timothy Kipnusu for Lunchtime News.
Elsewhere, at least 46 youth and women groups in Nyakach Sub-County, Kisumu County have benefited from checks ranging from 30,000 to 100,000 shillings in an economic empowerment program by the Office of the Women Member of Parliament, Kisumu County. The non-refundable amounts are meant to assist the groups grow their respective economic activities for self-economic growth and sustenance. Wycliffe Okech with the details.
Weeks after launching an ambitious strategic plan worth over 300 million shillings, the Office of the Woman Member of Parliament Kisumu County Friday issued checks to at least 46 youth and women groups and enterprises to support their respective economic activities.
This is a program that we began immediately we took over the office from the previous administration. And we underwent a very rigorous exercise of visiting the groups to ascertain their existence and to confirm really that there are activities they are doing or they are aspiring to do.
The monies are aimed at enabling the groups grow their economic prospects for self-sustenance.
Today was a milestone. This is the 7th, I think, sub-county that we are now issuing checks. We'll continue to monitor and evaluate, build capacity, create more partnerships and find more resources to be able to build these groups and enable them.
Beneficiaries lauded the move, promising prudent accountability.
Sana nataka kuongea juu ya table banking. Kitambo kabla hajatu train tulikuwa tunasanya pesa, tunagawana. By the end of the day tunagawa pesa. Tunaweza kusanya hata 400,000. Alafu kila mtu anarudishiwa pesa. After training nilijua ya kwamba hizi pesa ifai tugawane. Inafaa tufanye nayo project investment.
We have been given 30,000. Yes. We are going to add it on our table banking so that we will get more share.
The office intends to roll out the Women Empowerment Program in all the 8 sub-counties in Kisumu, in addition to enrolling needy youth to TVET institutions. For Lunchtime News, I am Wycliffe Okech.
And still on economic empowerment, women have been encouraged to offer quality products and services that can attract customers to mitigate against limited financial capital access. The president of Female Founders Initiative, Roshane Ngorima, says attracting the right clientele will ensure women startups are well liquidated, adding that the organization will soon set up a fund to provide seed capital for women startups.
Several women startups in agribusiness and fintech will benefit from seed funding that is set to be rolled out in the 2024 by the Female Founder Initiative. The organization is seeking to expand women startups in the continent in a bid to ensure women are integrated into the continent's economy.
Maximum investment one can get is $100,000. Look, we would love to give millions, but we are starting and we also learn along the way.
The funding also aims at increasing women access to cheap credit.
If you do not get invited to a table, you create your own. So we are creating this fund for the women, by women, managed by women as well, for them to bridge the gap between the have and the have-nots in terms of access to funding.
President Roshane Ngorima was speaking during a courtesy call to Real-Time Group Global CEO Lilian Atho, who won the 2023 Female Founder Initiative Middle East and Africa Business CEO of the Year Award.
Women should get out of their shells. There is funding out there which is basically for women-run and women-owned companies.
Atho said limited access to credit due to lack of collateral is a challenge among women in the country, calling on financial institutions to consider creating tailor-made financial services for women. Ben Troy Njue II reporting for Lunchtime News.
And public servants have been warned to resist the urge to engage in corruption as they dispense services to the public. Head of Public Service Felix Koskei says the government is keen on weeding out unscrupulous public servants demanding kickbacks to carry out their mandate. Additionally, he maintained the government is dedicated to the development of all regions, irrespective of their voting pattern in the last poll. Chola Simon with the details.
Koskei warned that the government, through line institutions, was keenly monitoring service delivery to Kenyans and will not hesitate to call out those involved in graft and other vices.
Mwananchi akienda kwa chief lazima apate huduma kulingana na vile anataka. Sio uende tena huko alafu chief anasema hii kazi inataka 200, hii kazi inataka photocopy. Sasa weka 200 hapa alafu ukuje saa 8 alafu hapana.
The head of public service said public servants must be true to the call of service delivery and ensure each Kenyan felt the impact of their taxes through tangible development across the country.
You have to know that these are our employers. These are the people who voted for the president and for the government, and the government hired us to work for these people. And we have to serve them.
Koskei spoke during a funds drive at the Ruma Secondary School, Rereda constituency in Siaya County.
We are going to cover the entire country and everybody will be treated equally. The resources that we are getting from you people in terms of taxes, lazima itumike kwa kila corner, every village, every division, every sub-location we have to develop.
We must be able to propagate government policy and ensure that the projects and programs that the government runs are fully implemented.
As a people, we have agreed, all of us who are in government, that we are going to work as one team. Myself, Raymond, Alfred Komudo, and everybody else in government. We are going to work as one team so that we help the government to deliver to the people of Nyanza.
The funds drive was meant to mobilize resources to build an administration block, purchase a school bus, amongst other development initiatives.
So I want to ask you students, have high-level commitment, have dedication, and remember your parents, and remember that equity in this life, the balancing act is only attained when you go to school and you dedicate to that process.
Information, Communication and the Digital Economy Cabinet Secretary Ludo Walo officially opened an ICT lab in the school during the event. The prompt service delivery calls from public servants coming hours after the head of public service sounded an alarm through his social media platforms on unscrupulous individuals using his name to intimidate government officials in public institutions for personal gains. Achola Simon, Lunchtime News, Kisumu County.
Very well, it's about 14 minutes past the top of the hour. We are taking a quick short break, but when we come back, we still have more news, not forgetting sports. Keep it KBC.
This is Budapest, the magical capital of Hungary. And in August 2023, home to the World Athletics Championships, where everyday heroes meet superheroes. World Athletics Championships Budapest 2023.
There are times when reason becomes unclear in the heart and forbidden loves come to life. Isabel Montalban will now convert paradise into a land of the wild. She knows her heart is true to one of the Oteros, but is not quite sure who of the three it is. Now, their view will blind them well beyond the core of their blood bond. In these wild lands, it is the rule of heart that is supreme. In wild lands.
Watu wa Maimahiu mupo! Stesheni uipendayo ya Shoro FM imekuandalia tamasha kali ya Mugithi Night Jumamosi tarehe 5 Agosti mwaka huu hapo VIP Nest Lounge Maimahiu. Karabi na bendi yake wataporomosha burudani kabambe kuanzia saa 2 za usiku hadi che. Ma-MC wetu wa nguvu Mwana Mwende, Joseph Njenga na makoha wa vioja mahakamani wamewatayarishia vichekesho kemkema na zawadi kocho kocho za kushindaniwa. Mafansu wa Naivasha na Maimahiu mnaombwa kujitokeza tujumuike pamoja kupiga sherehe. Hii itakuwa kali sana.
Welcome back. Residents of Kwadandu Mwangei village in Malindi, Kilifi County are staring at hunger despite cultivating. Follows an invasion of their land by a herd of marauding elephants that left in their wake destruction of their produce. The residents are accusing the Kenya Wildlife Service of failing to respond to their calls to drive away the jumbos.
Kwadandu Mwangei in Malindi, Kilifi County is a village in despair. Area residents are staring at an uncertain future following the invasion of their food basket by about 15 jumbos. As they try to salvage a few cobs, their hopes of a bumper harvest have dwindled despite their investment.
Tunalima mahindi yote yamemalizwa kuliwa na ndovu. Sasa hii hatuna la kufanya. Tunashangaa vile la kila siku ndovu wanaingia. Hata jana, hata usiku wa leo tumewaona kabisa. Tunafukuza lakini hawaendi.
Kwa hizi shamba zote ambazo mimi niko nazo karibu 4-5 nimetumia almost 120,000 kwa sababu mamangu ni mzee, babangu ni mzee, hawezi lima hiyo shamba yote. Kwa hivyo ilibidi nigarimike ili nihakikishe kwamba mimi niko na chakula, lakini saa hii nimerudi zero.
The invasion is also said to have led to the death of 2 men and 3 children as they attempted to scare the elephants from their farms.
Sehemu ya Vitengeni
kumeua mzee mmoja na ule ndovu wanafukuza ndovu wakaanza kumuua. Hata sasa matanga inaendelea na sehemu za mlimo wa ndege manaua au ndovu manauma watoto 3 na wazee 2.
The residents are now calling for action from the Kenya Wildlife Service officers and compensation by the government.
Tukapeleka malalamishi kwa sababu chifu akasema tujaze fomu tupeleke Ganda, tupeleke Gede. Huko Gede kwenda ni pesa, hakuna pesa. Mito nilipwe mpate haki yangu.
Nasio Kware, Lunchtime News.
Moving on, parents and learners in the remote areas of Kajiado County have lauded the competency-based curriculum for nurturing talents despite facing various challenges. And education stakeholders in Mandera have agreed to work together to confront challenges affecting the education sector in the region.
The impact of the competency-based curriculum continues to be felt among learners in the country. At Ilbisil Boarding Primary School in Kajiado Central Sub-County, teachers say the impact has been positive.
Kupitia CBC tumegundua ya kwamba talanta tofauti kutoka kwa watoto wetu ilikuwa imejificha, lakini sasa zinajitokeza kupitia njia mbalimbali.
However, the curriculum faces its share of challenges.
Changamoto ile tuko nayo sasa ni kupata bidhaa kwa sababu kuna gharama ya hizi projects.
Parents and educators, however, remain optimistic about CBC's potential to shape a bright future for the learners of Kajiado County.
Watoto wanajua sasa jinsi ya kupanda mboga na itaweza kuimprove mambo na afya yao binafsi na vile vile inaweza kuwa source of income pale nyumbani na pia ni njia ya kupunguza njaa.
Panda mboga zetu, sikuwa najua hata vile mboga ambazo zinapandwa, lakini kwa sasa hivi nimejua na hizi tumepanda tukiwa na wenzangu.
In Baringo North Education, stakeholders have embarked on plans to counter challenges facing poor performance of schools in the semi-arid area. Baringo North MP Geoffrey Ruku urged school heads not to send Class 8 and Form 4 candidates home due to lack of school fees.
Wale watoto ambayo wako Class 8 kwa sasa wamebakisha miezi 3, miezi 2 wafanye mtihani. Jameni walimu, uhakikishe ya kwamba hautafukuza mtoto ambaye yako Class 8 kwa hiyo miezi 2 imeyopita, hata kama iko nini. Tafadhali walimu, watoto wa Form 4 usiwapeleke nyumbani. Unaweza peleka nyumbani hao wengine wa Form 1, Form 2, Form 3. Lakini yule wa Form 4 amebakisha miezi 2, akae wapi?
On his part, Baringo North Sub-County Director of Education Joseph Ngodho challenged parents to ensure all children go to school, saying failure to adhere to this will attract punitive action.
Tafadhali wazazi, ni jukumu lenu kuleta watoto shule ili hawa walimu wawahudumie. Walimu hawezi wakakuja nyumbani kufunza watoto huku. Lazima watoto wakuje shule. Shule ni mingi, shule ni za serikali. Tuleta watoto shule ili waweze kuhudumiwa.
John Njue for Lunchtime News.
Now, a section of leaders affiliated to the Kenya Kwanza coalition now claim the opposition is fighting the government by filing court cases through proxies to derail its agenda. Baringo North MP Geoffrey Ruku says the move by the Law Society of Kenya to move to court challenging the constitutionality, I beg your pardon, of the housing levy is insincere.
As the Supreme Court prepares to hear an appeal challenging the implementation of the Finance Act, the Law Society of Kenya filed a case in court challenging the constitutionality of the housing levy as contained in the Finance Act. This series of events has now seen a section of leaders allied to the Kenya Kwanza say the court cases are politically instigated to derail the government's agenda.
Watu wa nchi ya Kenya wanataka chakula. And we can only get enough food if we implement what we pass in parliament. Wananchi wa Kenya wanataka kazi. Vijana wanataka kazi. Hiyo kazi itapatikana kama we are going to implement what we passed in the parliament. But if you keep on going to court again and again, then hata sisi kuna yale ambayo tunajua na tutafanya.
Mbere North Member of Parliament claims the opposition is behind the court cases and wants the Law Society of Kenya to withdraw the case and instead focus on constructive litigations to help strengthen the opposition.
Sasa wewe unakimbia kotini uhakishe mpango ya housing program haitafanyika ili vijana wetu wa Kenya ambao wana kazi wasipate kazi. Tunasema shetani ashindwe. Tunasema shetani afanye nini? Na kama ni kupinga serikali kwa mambo yote ambayo inaofanya, pass, tugeuze katiba, tuhakikishe ya kwamba yule kiongozi wa opposition ambaye anaitwa Raila Odinga ako pale bungeni.
This is as the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce and Industry President Eric Ruto said the implementation of the Finance Act will hurt the few formalized businesses, calling for formalization of businesses to widen the tax bracket and simplify the compliance processes.
Yes, we are going to look at the effects of the Finance Act right now. But what we want to say is that, yes, definitely government must be able to run its services, and for it to run its services, it might be able to collect enough taxes for it to be able to do it. The challenge that is there is that few businesses in Kenya are formalized. So therefore, in terms of collection of revenue and taxes, those few businesses are the ones which are being overtaxed to the last shilling or to the last drop of blood of the business community.
For Lunchtime News, I'm Gladys Mungai.
Let's now shift gears to sports, where Sports Cabinet Secretary Ababu Namwamba inspected the ongoing construction of the Kipchoge Keino Stadium in Eldoret today, in readiness for the Devolution Conference games to be set to be played in the facility. Ababu expressed satisfaction at the pace of development and the quality of work being undertaken by the contractor in comparison to the state of the stadium a month ago.
So
on the condition of the pitch, the CS lauded the contractor for the swift progress, which is said was a step in the right direction as regards to the standards set out by his ministry.
We left the pitch looking like a cattle track, actually worse than a cattle track. Now it is starting to look like a sporting pitch. Start looking like a pitch where we can comfortably allow our footballers and other field events to take place.
He added that his ministry's biggest dream is to have an international standard stadium in Eldoret to reflect the contribution the region has made to Kenyan sport.
There is a bit of finishing work that needs to be done on the pitch so that the pitch can be completely smooth and the grass at the right level of height to be able to be put to use. There's a bit of rehabilitation of the tartan track to ensure that athletics can take place on the track.
Also in attendance was Sports Principal Secretary Peter Toom, who thanked the county leadership for the collaboration and personnel provision that helped in supervising the project jointly with the national government.
The reason we are where we are at this particular moment is because you've had your fingers onto this project since 3 or so months ago. And that is why we can pride ourselves today and say there is some light at the end of the tunnel.
For Lunchtime News, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
They have stopped that section. Yes. So they are focusing on this center. Yes.
Elfyn Evans more than doubled his advantage over sector rally Finland rival Thierry Neuville after stringing together a clean sweep of stage wins earlier today. Carl Rovanpera's Friday's retirement has left the door wide open for Evans and Neuville, his nearest championship challengers, to whistle down Finn's 55-point lead at the 9th round. Just 6.9 seconds separated the dueling duo overnight, and they continued fighting tooth and nail on wet gravel roads to the south of host Javaskala this morning. But it was Evans' superior speed in rain-soaked conditions that came to the fore as Neuville wrestled the wheel spin in his Hyundai i20N. The Welshman driving a Toyota GR Yaris won all 4 of the super-fast special stages to stretch his buffer to 17.7 seconds by the day's midpoint.
Warm-up events in Tampere last weekend.
In like a Portugal Sardinia, that you've got some give in the road. The car's phenomenal, but and moves to lose. Again, he's the same as Taka. Just dropping the rear wheel into the grass on the outside. Neuville staying on the gravel.
Okay, keep an eye on that clock. Remember, Thierry was at 10:11.8. He was 1.2 up after 17 kilometres.
Oh.
What a finish to the stage for Elfyn Evans and Scott Martin. They went from
stage, isn't it?
7 tenths down. That's like more than a 3-second swing.
For Speed Note, we come to the end of KBC Lunchtime News this Saturday afternoon. On behalf of everyone who has made this broadcast success, Lucy Maura has been our sign language interpreter. My name is Ben Troy Njue. Have yourself a fabulous weekend.
Mimi wakati nilipata huyo mtoto wako special, sikuchoka na yeye.
Watoto